Hello. Hello. Can you guys see me? I don't know if anyone can see me right now. Okay. Not sure. Let's see. Okay. If you can see me, say hi. Okay. So because today we're going to discuss about the types of spiritual husbands and wives that exist and where they come from. Okay. We're going to discuss about divorce and alignment. Because some people, they think that spiritual husbands and wife comes from just water. But spiritual husbands and wife comes from the four elements, different elements that they come from. Some comes from the water, some comes from air, some come from Mother Earth, while some come from fire. Okay? So when you go and give offerings to the elements in the water, and your husband is probably not from water, so you keep having the same problems all over again, and you're thinking, but I've done my offerings. Why is it that I still have the same problems? Okay, so especially if you come from a different element, just know that your spiritual husband, can come from the how does this spiritual husband even how did they come into existence? They came into existence from our reincarnation world. Okay, because you come from somewhere before you came on this earth. Okay, and you were married to someone before. So this is how this spiritual husband, they still have attachment with us when we come here, because it's like we are traveling and we have to go back home later. Okay, so that's how spiritual husband comes about. So is it all spiritual husbands that are good husbands? No. Some spiritual husbands, the good ones are there and there are bad ones. And someone that is evil can obviously attach a bad spiritual husband to you just to destroy you. These bad spiritual husbands, what they do is they make sure you don't get married. They don't make sure nothing good comes into your life. They are attacking everything in your life. Okay? And sometimes, how do they put this spiritual husband, the evil ones, in our lives? Mostly these spiritualists that works with demons. Okay, because those ones that destroys their demon, they are not your spiritual husband, your real one. Because a true spiritual husband is not going to destroy your life. He's there to protect you, to help you. But the bad ones are there to just do the opposite. Okay, this is why when you go to some churches and they are doing deliverance on spiritual husband, you're going to see that when they ask the spiritual husband, what is your purpose in this person's life? The spiritual husband is going to say, I'm only there to delete the person. I'm only there to destroy. Those ones are the demons that have been installed into someone's life, either from their family line, from generation. Someone have caused them and sent the spiritual husband to them, or someone evil that they've gone to do some spiritual work for them, especially these men or some spiritual women as well, spiritualists, when they ask you out and you refuse to date them. And they always have this mentality that if I can't have you, I make sure that no one has you. And then they go and put spiritual husband into your life by tricking you and telling you that you have a spiritual husband. Your spiritual husband is going to bring money, wealth for you. When you open the wardrobe, you will just be filled with a lot of money. You understand? So you have this mindset, wow. So yes, let's go and then align this spiritual husband so I can get some wealth. But what you don't know is that the person is actually going to attach a demon to you. And you'll be thinking that you are aligned to your true spiritual husband, okay? They align a demon to you, and you see that immediately once you align to these demons, they will ask you, well, first, when they are doing this alignment, they will ask you for buy ring, buy wedding things, you know. But your spiritual husband, you've already been married to him or her. If he's a spiritual wife, you've already been married from your past life. It's the husband that you have from your past life. That is your spiritual husband. Okay? So those ones that they are trying to do new arrangements, they are putting a spirit into your life. So that is why these spirits are always destroying. Those ones that are there to destroy. Okay? Some people, like when you come from bad family, when they try to get you spiritually and they cannot get you, the easiest way that they can try to destroy your life is by attaching a spiritual. They will marry you off, actually. They will marry you off to a demon, and this demon will be representing you as your spiritual husband. Okay? So when you do a spiritual work to align yourself to a spiritual husband and you see that things are going really bad, this is when you know that, maybe it's not the right one. Okay? And also you might be giving offering to the wrong elements, because spiritual husband comes from different elements, not just water. Because I see everyone is just going to the water all the time to do a spiritual husband's spiritual work. Your spiritual husband can come from the earth, fire, from the 4 elements. Okay? It can come from different elements. So people just have to know that. And in order for you to know which element your spiritual husband comes from, you have to do a divination to find out. And the funnier part again about this spiritual husband and wife stuff, okay? There is polygamy in the spiritual realm. So some spiritual husband has more than several wives. Some spiritual wives have several husbands. So women also, some women have many spiritual husbands. So sometimes you go and give offerings and try to appease your spiritual husband. And you, after doing it, you see that things are still not going well. It's because maybe you have many spiritual husbands and you have not, or spiritual wives, and you have not given offering to the rest of them. Maybe you just done one. So, and these polygamous, there is most of those demons that they always attach people to, a lot of them are into polygamy. And the women, polyandry. Polyandry is a process where a woman can have many husbands. Okay? So the same way we have polygamy and polyandry in the physical world, this is how they have polygamy and polyandry in the spiritual world. So when you have all these things, then there could be a lot of problems. I'm talking from experience. I have to divorce, because some people, when you tell them about spiritual husband, you tell them you have spiritual husband, they say, oh, go and align yourself to your spiritual husband. They've not confirmed which elements the spiritual husband comes from. They don't confirm if the spiritual husband is a good one. They just say go and align. It doesn't work like that. A husband is supposed to help you, to provide for you, to protect you. The same thing with the wife. The wives in the spiritual realm, they are supposed to provide for you, protect you. If they are not doing any of that, know that they are not good one. Even if a spiritual husband or wife is angry and you appease them, they should be able to change, like try to improve your life. Okay? But if they're not doing that, you should know that you should have this red flag. Maybe it's a demon that is there. It's not really your spiritual husband. Because all those people that comes, thank you. All those people that comes, like all those spirit that comes in your sleep to have intimacy with you, a lot of them are not actually your spiritual husband. So another thing is, some witches can transform as your spiritual partner. They will come. A woman can turn to a man because they are shapeshifter, and a man can turn to a woman, and they come in your dreams, and you'll be thinking, oh, this is my spiritual husband. But sometimes it's actually a witch that is close by, close to you, that is trying to destroy you. Okay? They come as your spiritual partner, and once they slept with you, you see that if you have a contract, the contract will just, they will not give you that contract again. If you have something good that is supposed to come into your life, those things will not just disappear. They will not work again. You will see bad luck. This is where witches have entered into your life pretending to be your spiritual partner. Okay? And also if there is a demon. And also people did not realize there is a divorce in the spiritual realm. Okay? You can divorce your spiritual wife or your spiritual husband if you think that they are not like contributing positively into your life. It's not all about alignment. You can divorce your spiritual husband as well and your spiritual wife. Okay? Because me, I always see all this spirit like human being. I cannot marry a husband that is not going to help me, that is not going to protect me, that is not going to provide for me. Okay? And I've also in the past, I have fought a lot of spiritual husbands that are into polygamy, you understand? Some of them have been installed by some bad people from my foundation. You know, when they try to get me spiritually, they cannot, and they think, oh, okay, maybe we should put spiritual husbands into her life. Because what the spiritual husband, the evil one, will do is just to destroy you, destroy every aspect of your life and anyone that comes into your life. It was then that I began to, my spirit guides started to teach me about this, how they works, and then they showed me how this spiritual husbands and wife works. Okay, spiritual husband comes from all dimensions, and you can divorce anyone. So right now, my true spiritual husband, I'm actually dating him right now. Like, there is no intimacy. I have given rules and regulation. We cannot have intimacy. I want to get to know you, understand? And I give when you can visit and when we can get to talk. So if any spiritual sponsor try to come into my life and try to have any intimacy, I know that is not my spiritual, the real one. I know that is something else. So I have to always, this, the bell comes into my head. I have to bind and cast and disconnect, you understand? So that is about the spiritual husband stuff I want to show you guys. Because when my spirit guide is teaching, when they are teaching me stuff, I'm jotting some things down so I don't forget, you know. Okay, what have I discussed about the polygamy, polyandry? And people can marry you off to spiritual wives and spiritual husbands just to destroy your life. You know, so be aware of that. It's those, so spiritually that does work for you. If they try to have a relationship with you and they refuse, some of them will program a spiritual husband into your life or a spiritual wife. And those ones, when they come, it's only to destroy. They're going to be destroying you. Okay? Okay, where the spiritual husbands they come from, I've discussed about that. Divorce is allowed. If a spiritual husband is not adding any value into your life, or a spiritual wife, you have the right to divorce them. Okay? Okay, yeah, and you can have more than one spiritual wife and spiritual husband. Because some people think it's just one. You can have more than one. How do you know if you have more than one? You have to do a definition to find out. Okay? Where your spiritual husband, your spiritual wife comes from. And if they are good ones, you find out, okay? And then the good ones, you can have alignment with them. Then they'll be guiding you like your spirit guides. They will be protecting you and providing for you. So that is how it works. Because some spiritual sponsor, when it comes to you, they will open ways for you. They give you a lot of good things after visitations and when they are in your life, you know. But the wrong ones are the one that does the opposite. Okay, and also another one is the deity in your family, in your foundation, can actually stand as your spiritual wife or your spiritual husband. Sometimes when you go for divination, they will say, we are seeing a spiritual husband or a spiritual wife. It could be that your foundational deities or foundational spirit guide is the one representing you like a spiritual wife or spiritual husband. Because in my foundation, we have a deity that is marrying all the females in the family. Okay? But if you don't know and you go, you will just think maybe it's the spiritual husband that you've married before in your afterlife. No. Some of them are deities that are marrying all the male or the female in your foundation. And those ones that marries all the females and all the males in the foundation, those ones are there to protect their lives, their spirit guides. You understand? You know? So those ones. Can you choose a spiritual wife or a spiritual husband? Some people do go and choose, but not the ones that you've had in your past life. Those ones you already married to them. You have an agreement. You're coming to this earth like a visitor. Because here is like visiting. We are coming here to learn, to do a task. And after then, we go back to the afterlife, to where we came from. So this is where we actually, that is where our life are. So here, in all the planets, the earth is the most difficult one. And we are all coming to learn something. We are coming to fulfill a task, a mission. Okay? And after then, we go back to where we come from. You can choose a spiritual wife or a spiritual husband if you have alignment with a spirit from any dimension. And the spirit likes you a lot or loves you a lot. And you guys have a agreement that you'll be doing this for me or that for me. And then we're going to marry each other. This is how the polygamy and polyandry relationship starts adding up. Then you start having many spiritual wives or spiritual husbands. So, but if you have many spiritual wives and spiritual husbands, you also have to have a good relationship with all of them. You have to be able to give offerings to all of them. And when you want to give offering to your spiritual polyandries or your polygamy spiritual wives and spiritual husbands, the good ones, always know there are bad and good ones in everything. All spiritual husbands are not good ones. Okay? All spiritual wives are not good ones. You have to check. What are they doing in your life? Just like you will check your physical partner in the physical world. Okay? I'm sure you will never want to marry a wife that is not good or a husband that is not good. Okay? And you have to be giving instruction to your spiritual husbands and your spiritual wife the way you do in the physical world. If you don't know the person, you can say, but I cannot remember how our relationship was. So I want to get to know you and date you. You get to know each other. Okay? And a very submissive and good one will start coming just to talk with you, to chat with you, to go out. Like a man will date you or a woman will date you, they will begin to do that. But when you tell a spiritual wife or a spiritual husband that you want to date them or you just want to get to know them and they refuse and they just want to have intimacy with you, that one is not a good one. Because once they slept with you, then things will begin to fall apart for you. That one's purpose is just to have intimacy with you and ruin things for you. And these are the spirit that when you go for deliverance in the churches and you ask them, what is your purpose in this man or woman's life? They'll tell you just to destroy. Okay? So it's important to know that. So trying to choose a spiritual husband, I think you should first go and make peace with the good ones that you have in your life. And if you find out there is a bad one there, you divorce that one and focus only on the good one. Okay, I'm sure the spiritual wife and spiritual husband will not be happy with me right now. Okay, with this secret that I'm revealing. Okay, you cut the cord. Okay, how do you divorce spiritual husband and spiritual wife that are negative in your life? First, you have to do a divination to find out how many spiritual wife or spiritual husbands that you have, and then where they come from. Okay, you need to know where they come from. Did they come from air? Did they come from fire? Did they come from Mother Earth? Okay, because all spiritual husbands does not come from water. And then you ask them. You have to give them tasks. Try to find out, the kind of person, because some of them are very tricky. Some people can pretend, just like we pretend in the physical world to get something. Some of them can pretend. Okay, but you can make a spiritual work to divorce anyone, any spiritual wife or spiritual husband that is negative in your life by cutting, they call it cutting the cords that connect you people. And this spiritual wife and spiritual husband, they can be monitoring you from any dimension that they are. They'll be monitoring with their monitoring mirrors. You have to break those mirrors. Okay? So if you have, how do I even say, I can give that. To divorce a spiritual husband that is in the water, the best way is to take an egg and go by the water. You speak your intention. You're divorcing. You can even write the divorce letter. You understand? Divorce them in that letter, and then you burn it with fire. Okay, take the ashes by a river and you throw it there. You break an egg by that river and you break a mirror. If the spiritual husband is also from the water, you break it by the mirror then. If the spiritual wife or spiritual husband is from the earth, you do the same thing on the earth. The ones on the air and the fire, you use fire elements. You use a candle light or you burn some firewood, whichever way you'll be able to create the fire element, and then you tell like that. But anyway, especially if you have many spiritual wives or spiritual husbands that have been installed for an evil purpose in your life, how do you divorce all of them at the same time? So I just have this stuff that I'm going to show. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see it properly? It's a pentagon. So this pentagon, you can draw a pentagon on the ground, and the right pentagon, if you can say this properly, okay, just say hi or say yes, so I can know that you're saying this pentagon properly, okay. And to divorce, because this pentagon represents the 5 elements, okay. You can see this one represents the spirit that lives in the sky up, okay. And here is the spirit that lives in the water, and that one is the spirit that lives on the air. Okay, the fire one, the spirit that lives on the fire, and this one is the spirit that lives on the earth. Because the earth, people live on the earth actually. People can go with this body that we have and go to the earth, okay, and come back to the physical one. Or they just have to tap the ground will open and they go in, do what they want to do and come back. And people goes to the water also, to the sea, to the ocean with this body, and they live there for a few months, few years, just to do some training and come back. Or they have a family there, they go and visit and come back. Okay, the same thing with other elements. But where people goes most is the earth and the water. People are always going between these places. So this is how we acquire those things. And if you are not going with your physical body, they are going through the astral realm. When they travel in the astral dimension, in the mirror world, that is how they connect with these things. So if you have your pentagon, you're going to get 5 candles and put at the edge of those pentagon like that. Okay, and let me show the pentagon again. For all those polyandrous and polygamous relationship, you put candle here, candle there on the edges of the pentagon, and these candles you're going to tie it amongst each other round. There is a rope that you're going to tie it. So when the candle is burning, the rope will begin to cut. That is when you're cutting the cord, you know, between you and your spiritual, those evil ones. You don't want to cut the good ones, so you have to word your information very well. You don't want to cut the good one because the good ones are like spirit guides to you. They will help protect you and provide a lot of good things in your life. Okay, when and then you light fire and you get a mirror. Okay, so when you light the fire, it's going to be like something like that. You see, something like that. But this is going to be with the rope around it. So also make sure you're getting the right pentagon. So you don't get the other one. You see the pentagon that you're going to draw, you can draw it on the ground. Okay, on the ground is better. On the soil, you draw it on the ground and put the candles there. The pentagon you're going to get, the top side is only one head. You see that one pointing on the top side. Don't take the pentagon that is 2 heads pointing. Okay, the one that is 2 heads pointing like that is a spirit. And I don't work with that spirit. Don't want to work with that spirit also. Okay, so make sure your pentagon is just one pointing up like that. That is the correct one that you'll be working with. Okay, and then you tie the rope, burn the pentagon, burn the everything. You're praying, you're disconnecting every negative spirit that is standing as your spiritual wife or your spiritual sponsors from all these dimensions. You're calling spirit from all those dimensions through that pentagon sigil or seal. Okay, and then you get a mirror. You also draw a pentagon on that mirror, and then you write what element they represent: the fire, air, and all the 5 elements. Okay, because the one on the top is the spirit that lives in the sky. Okay, some spirit live also in the sky, not only the ones in the air. Some of them lives there. So that is how you call all these spirits. As the rope is cutting, you're cutting, disconnecting. You're disconnecting. And then you break the mirror that you've drawn pentagon on. You break it by the water side. Okay, you break it by the water side. If you don't break it by the water side, break it on the earth and then you bury it. Okay, that is how you are closing all the evil monitoring eyes that they've been using to monitor you, to come and visit you. That is how you use it. There is another method you can do also with egg, but let me keep those one private for myself right now. So, okay, that is how you'll be able to disconnect your bad one. And the good one, you want to align with the good spiritual wives and spiritual husband that you have. I don't know how many husbands and wives you have. And once you've confirmed how many you will have, you can go and give them offering based on the location that they have, they come from. Or you can have it just around you because they come and visit you all the time anyway. And anytime you call them, they can come to the physical world immediately. Okay, it's like some deities, they live between the earth and the water. So when you call them, they will come and get the food. So if you have like 5 spiritual wife or spiritual husband, you have to give them separate offering on their own bowl or their plate. You say this one is for this spiritual husband from the earth, And this plate is for spiritual husband from fire element. This plate is spiritual husband from the air. This is from the ones in the sky, you know. Okay, and this is from water. This is how you give the offering separate things, just to give honor to each of them separately without interfere without them, because they can get jealous too, you know. And when you're doing things, you do it equally. Especially when you have a lot of spiritual wife and spiritual husband, you have to have that mentality of, like, physically that you're marrying so many wives or so many husbands. How are you going to treat them? You have to treat them equally. Okay, so that is about it for spiritual wife and spiritual husband. And if you have any question, you can ask me now so I can be able to answer you before I leave. Do you have any question? Is there any question that you guys have before I leave? No question? So, okay, I'm going to go off right now, and I'm going to do another video for those of you that have been trying to contact me about readings and all that, or how to see me. I'm going to make a video so people understand. Okay, so bye for now.